pirates, yes, they rob I, sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit, but my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom?
Welcome back, folks, to Star Wars Delusions of Granular with your host, Ron. As always, this is a Star Wars podcast. We talk about Star Wars twice a week. We pick a Star Wars topic. We get granular with it, hence the title of our show. You can find all of our episodes at delusionsofgranular.com. We have all of our past episodes on there, as well as links to our social media presence, like Facebook. You can find us at facebook.com/swdog or our Twitter at swdog77. You can also email us at swdog77@gmail.com or give us a call, 651-337-9364. And you can subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher. And if you're wanting to leave us some feedback, you can always give us a rating. 5 stars, always appreciated, or just leave us a review. Always appreciated as well. All right, well, as of today, we are recording this, and this is big news that's been happening at the New York Comic Book Convention. We've been seeing some new Force Awakens toys. In particular, we're actually seeing a full body shot of the Han Solo figure. This is the first time we're actually seeing Han's full uniform, full outfit for the Force Awakens, and very, very reminiscent of, I think, the Han Solo outfit from Empire. A little bit baggier, a little bit more generous in the cut for an older man, but still pretty cool, and of course, good work at the folks who are actually producing these figures, because the likeness is very pretty awesome, I think, of Harrison Ford himself, although I think they're being a little bit kind to him, not giving him as much gray hair in the figure as he seems to have in the footage we've seen of The Force Awakens so far. But also, very exciting. We're getting the full trailer for Season 2 of Star Wars Rebels. I will be anxiously awaiting the return of that show. I know when we last left Rebels, JP and I were still doing the show and diligently watching Rebels every week. And, I think we came down on different sides of that show. I became pretty much a fan of the show, and JP was still being very critical of it. In the time that's been off, I've been a little bit more critical of some of the characters on there. I'm not as anxious to learn more about Ezra and Kanan, but the rest of the crew seems to be looks like they're giving Sabine some more backstory. Looks like she has a fellow Mandalorian bounty hunter or somebody after her, and the introduction of 2 new Inquisitors, and it's just exciting things. Obviously, Darth Vader is still playing a large presence. Hondo from the Clone Wars makes an appearance in this trailer, as well as, Captain Rex, the clones, the surviving clones are in this, and that's, I do greatly appreciate that, and I'm very much looking forward to that. So that'll be in a week or so. I think I'll definitely cover off on the first episode, and then kind of, we'll go from there, see how exciting it is week by week. But I'm not gonna overload you with Rebels talk. I'll talk about it when it's needs to be talked about. But plenty of other stuff coming our way as we wind down. We're about 60 some days away from The Force Awakens, and trying to just trying to keep it fresh and have a lot of interesting episodes coming up in the near future. What else do we have? We have also announced today new books in the journey to The Force Awakens. Exciting news. We have the second 2 books in the Aftermath trilogy, titled Aftermath Life Debt and Aftermath Empire's End. So these will be coming out summer of 2016 and into 2017 as well. So quite a while to finish off that trilogy, but it'll happen sooner or later, or soon enough, I should say. Both of those will also be written by Chuck Wendig, who wrote the first one, and I assume that they'll probably have similar structure with a lot of short story interludes throughout. Also, Claudia Gray, who wrote the Lost Stars book, which I just covered in the last episode. She has a book coming out called New Republic Bloodlines, and that's set for release in 2016, spring of 2016. So, that's exciting. We also have some short stories coming. Looks like we're going to get some more short stories happening in Star Wars Insider. We're also going to get, some ebooks, it looks like. I'm not entirely sure how those will be released. Maybe on Star Wars website. I don't know. But looks like we're going to cover off on, some of those characters that we've seen pop up in the photos in Vanity Fair. Particularly that woman that kind of looks like a court jester, dressed in black. Very striking woman. We find out her name. Her name is Bazine, right? Am I getting that right? I believe I am. She's going to have a short story, as well as the character she's kind of sitting on his lap will get his story as well, apparently. And interesting, we're going to get some other short stories. High Noon on Jakku, the Crimson Corsair, and the Treasure of Count Dooku. So that's exciting. Count Dooku, always exciting to bring in a prequel character into this. Interesting. Actually, I've even heard that some of these books will have some different genres. That we'll get a western. That's probably the High Noon on Jakku. Jakku is probably going to be a kind of a western tale. Also heard that one of these books is going to be a horror movie or a horror book. So lots of places that Star Wars can go. Also found out that Greg Rucka, who's currently writing Shattered Empire, which I've been reading. I'll probably talk about that eventually, but that he actually is very much a strong supporter of The Force Awakens, and he feels like his Luke character in Shattered Empire is going to be very much like the peaceful Qui-Gon Jinn. So that's exciting news. That's really exciting news, right? So that leads me to what I've been reading lately. A lot of new books came out. This week when I'm recording this. When you'll be hearing it is probably last week. In the future, time is always kind of screwy on Delusions of Granular, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, I've been reading the books that came out last week, the comic books in particular. Star Wars 10 came out, as well as Darth Vader 10. And, Shattered Empire number 2 came out, as well as Lando is finished up. And I'll be covering off on Lando, if not the next episode, very soon. I'll cover that entire series, because, I think that once the story's kind of wrapped up, it's a good time to cover that. But I gotta say, I don't even know where to begin or where to talk about Shattered Empire yet. So I'm gonna let that one kind of I'm gonna let that one play out a little bit further before I jump into that. But one book that I haven't talked about really is Star Wars itself, the Star Wars title from Marvel. We're already 10 issues into it, already wrapped up the first story arc well into the second story arc, and I'm not going to recap everything. Maybe in a future episode I'll kind of give you a full rundown of those books, but Star Wars 10 it really kind of stuck out for me. I was pretty impressed with this book, and for various reasons, but the book continues to be written by Jason Aaron. Stuart Immonen is doing the art on it, and actually very, very well done. Nothing but high marks on the two creators here. I think they're doing a great job. Anyway, I believe this arc is something about Smuggler's Moon, and we have our main characters kind of making their way to Smuggler's Moon. Nar Shaddaa, to be exact. We have Luke kind of tracking down. He's trying to find someone to train him, and he's kind of getting mixed up in the underside of the Star Wars universe. And we have the controversial Han and Leia story, where Han's supposedly wife or ex-wife is kind of with them, and looks like they're kind of headed towards Nar Shaddaa as well. And we have Chewbacca and C-3PO as well, kind of heading towards the Smuggler's Moon to kind of track down Luke Skywalker and probably save him. But it's where I kind of wanted to focus this week's episode, because I thought that Chewie and C-3PO, the storyline itself was pretty cool, but it led me to some other thoughts as well. But let's just kind of go over the Chewbacca and C-3PO thing. Basically, they're teamed up. It's kind of a buddy action figure adventure. They're basically trying to track down Luke and get information, and it's pretty fun. It's kind of like Chewbacca's using C-3PO to get the information, and then Chewbacca's coming in as the muscle to shake down these nefarious characters to get the information out of them. They end up causing quite a ruckus. They're at one point Chewbacca is basically holding a guy by his leg upside down above a ledge, kind of drops him, we think, to his death, but actually ends up on like a garbage barge of some sort, and kind of attracts the attention of some other characters, some familiar characters. In particular, spoiler for the last page of this book, Dengar. Dengar is now back in the mix. This is the first time, not really the first time, we've actually gotten Dengar's story in the Aftermath, one of the short stories that I talked about. So Dengar is again popping up. Interesting that he's popping up more so than, Boba Fett, who in the new canon is still in the Sarlacc pit, right? Or has that been ruled that he escaped? I'm not sure. But anyway, no stories have been written about Boba Fett yet, but Dengar is definitely showing up, and I thought that was a great way to end the book, kind of with his appearance. But right before his appearance, he gets information by a very familiar character to the Star Wars universe. Yes, a Gungan. A Gungan is giving Dengar information, and folks, this is the heart of what I wanted to get to tonight. This is the reason that this episode of Delusions of Granular exists. I really wanted to talk about this because, good on Jason Aaron to bring a Gungan into the Star Wars universe once again. I applaud him very much. He, I've been waiting for this. I know probably a lot of folks have not been waiting for this. I know a lot of folks want to pretend like the Gungans don't exist, Jar Jar in particular. But, Mr. Aaron did it. He says, you know what, I'm going to bring him in. I'm going to bring him back, and I like the way they brought him back. We know that this is not Jar Jar. This is, I believe, trying to decipher Gungan speech. I believe his name is Paulo, but I could be wrong there. Correct me if I am, but I believe this Gungan in particular is not Jar Jar, but his name is Paulo. But he definitely speaks like Jar Jar. He definitely has the same, colloquialisms that Jar Jar has. And, well, I will say this. This character looks pretty badass. He's, first of all, he looks, he looks like he fits into the underbelly of the Star Wars universe. You know, he's kind of got, looks like he has a patch over one eye, kind of covered up, like it's been, like he's gone through some battle damage of some sort. He's got some pierced earrings in his one ear. Looks like he's missing a tooth. And well, here's where I'm getting at, folks. Do we think that Jar Jar, now that we're seeing Gungans moving forward, do you think that there will be a point where we get Jar Jar back in the mix? Will some creator, some author have the balls enough to bring Jar Jar back? You know, the whereabouts of Jar Jar, unknown since we saw him last in the Senate chamber in Revenge of the Sith, right? And who knows? You know, has the Empire, or well, has the Gungans, has it fallen on hard times? Has Naboo fallen on hard times? Have all the Gungans kind of become a little bit rougher around the edges? I don't know, but I think that well, as much as I'm asking the question, I think it'll be inevitable, folks. I think that one day, one creator will bring this character back. I think that why not, right? Why not? Let's see if we can redeem this character. The character that is so reviled by the fans. I know that JP, and folks, if you're new listeners to the show, I encourage you to go back and listen to past episodes of Delusions of Granular when my co-host, who's on hiatus right now because he's off being a new father, I encourage you to go back and listen to our early episodes where it was just JP and I kind of just talking about Star Wars every day, every episode of it wasn't just me talking, it was two guys talking aimlessly about Star Wars instead of one guy, but we had our thoughts about how to bring Jar Jar back. I'll share them with you here. We thought, well, why can't Jar Jar come back as a bounty hunter? Why not? Like, the Senate's been dissolved. That would basically mean that Jar Jar is out of a job. Doesn't know where to go. I would think that the planet of Naboo is not really a friendly place for him to go, since that's the home of Palpatine. So why not, have him kind of go underground and maybe become, a hardened character, maybe a bounty hunter of some sort. Also, here's a thought that JP and I did have. Why not? Seems like maybe Jar Jar had some bad feelings towards the Jedi. If you go back to the Phantom Menace, clearly Obi-Wan Kenobi did not think highly of this character, kind of calls him a thing. Even Qui-Gon, kind of is a little bit rude to him. Maybe Jar Jar's holding some resentment towards the Jedi. Maybe what if somebody took his character and had him team up with Vader, of all characters, right? Anakin Skywalker, Vader, Darth Vader, to help Vader hunt down the Jedi. That would mean he could pop up in Rebels. Could fandom stand that, to have Jar Jar pop up in Rebels? We're already seeing other characters pop up in Rebels. We're getting Ahsoka, a once annoying character as well, right? We all very much were against her when she first appeared in the Clone Wars movie. She was also kind of she was annoying. She had the nickname Snips, and it just felt like she didn't belong in the Star Wars universe. And I'll say, ended up becoming the heart of the Clone Wars. So, we also had the clones. The clones, they didn't have much of personality in the movies, but man, did they redeemed in the Clone Wars, right? They were given so much more backstory and depth and actual personalities. I was like, well, if Jar Jar could come back, I definitely could see him coming back in Rebels. Definitely under Dave Filoni's leadership, I could see this definitely happening. Which led me to kind of think, like, well, which is worse for Star Wars fans? Like, which characters can't be redeemed? Well, it has to be either Jar Jar or the Ewoks, right? And I kind of wanted to look back to see if there was ever any reason, any way that the Ewoks could have ever been redeemed in the EU, now Legends. And JP and I talked about this on our Dark Empire show, and the Ewoks, they actually were there. It was a weird time for Star Wars storytelling in general, but not knowing, well, basically assuming that there were no movies left. The creators, Tom Veitch and Cam Kennedy, they why not include Ewoks in the background? The Battle of Endor had just happened, and basically, these characters were part of that victory, so why not have them be a part of the continuing story of the rebellion, the New Republic, so to speak. But I also I tracked down that at least one Ewok tried to have some redemption. He showed up in the role-playing game in a 2000 version called Geonosis and the Other Rim Worlds source book. He shows up as a Jedi. So there was some precedence for trying to redeem a character that fans didn't really care for in general. Speaking very broadly here, I know that there are fans of the Ewoks, are fans of Jar Jar as well. Not trying to bring the hate here, just trying to see if there was any way that any thoughts into bringing back a character that was once hated. And the Ewok, I don't have a lot of information on him. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to dig up anything really of substance on this Jedi Ewok, but apparently it was tried. So, maybe one day someone will try with Jar Jar as well. I know one a fellow podcast person that we have talked about on the show has also tried to redeem Jar Jar. Mr. Kevin Smith himself, on his show, on his podcast called Smodcast, he actually kind of did an episode where his thoughts on how to make Jar Jar, how to make a Jar Jar movie. He went that far and just made, let's actually make a movie solely on Jar Jar. Now Kevin Smith is, one to have some crazy ass ideas, but you can go back to his episode. Like I said, it's Smodcast. It's episode number 327. Title's very telling. It's Misa Kills, and Kevin Smith and his co-host, his partner in crime, Scott Mosier. They basically kind of come up with a pitch for a Star Wars or a Jar Jar movie. Of course, anyone who's listened to any of the Kevin Smith podcasts know that Kevin Smith likes to partake in some pot smoking during the episodes. So of course this idea is kind of fueled by some pot, but it's still interesting. I think that the thought is out there in the ether, folks. how to make Jar Jar a badass, right? How to make a character that has been just so hated by the fans, to bring him back in a way that just would get people to rethink who this character is and actually think about him in a different light. I think that would be exciting, folks. I think it would be a risk, obviously, but I think that there's somebody out there can do it, and I hope that one day we see that happen, because I think as a fan of the prequels, as a fan of all of George's movies, I think it's worth trying to bring Jar Jar back. So, folks, if you are in agreement with me, let's try something new, something that I've seen other podcasts do. Let's do a hashtag campaign, right? So, if you are in favor of Jar Jar's return, let's do a hashtag Jar Jar, bring Jar Jar back, all right? Hashtag bring Jar Jar back. Or if you're against it, how about the hashtag no more Jar Jar? Okay? So let's try this. Let's try to get some support here on Twitter. All right. So, folks, that's my thoughts. Please, folks, I welcome all of your thoughts. Can Jar Jar be redeemed? Is he the character that will never move forward? Only time will tell. And well, folks, that's my take. All because of Star Wars number 10 and seeing a Gungan appear again really kind of brought some excitement into my head, brought some ideas into my head, and well, I hope you folks have read it, and like I said, like to hear your thoughts. So, as always, this is Delusions of Granular. I'm your host, Ron, and until next time, stay granular. Thanks.
Redemption songs. Redemption songs. Redemption songs. Old pirates, yes, they rob I. Sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We got to fulfill the book. So won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, these songs of freedom. 'Cause all I ever had, redemption songs. These songs of freedom. These songs of freedom.